Have you ever found yourself wrestling with the urge to manage every little thing in your life? Like your relationships, your job, or even what others think of you? Only to notice that the harder you grip, the more stuff seems to slip right through your fingers? Picture this. No matter how much effort you pour into keeping everything in line, it feels like chaos creeps in anyway. What if I told you that Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant minds in psychology, believed the real trick to making life flow smoothly is to quit trying to control it all? Sounds pretty wild, right? Like it doesn't even make sense at first glance? Stick with me, though, because in just a few minutes, I'm going to break down why letting go might be the game changer you've been searching for to totally shake up your world. You know that heavy sensation, like you're lugging the entire planet on your back, chasing perfection every second, or fretting over every twist and turn the future might throw at you. It's exhausting, always trying to guess what's next and steer every detail, isn't it? Here's the good news. You're not the only one feeling this way, and even better, that non-stop hunt for control might actually be the very thing blocking you from what you truly want. In this video, we're going to dig deep into Jung's ideas to figure out why tightening your hold on life can make you lose your grip even more. We'll explore how stepping back, detaching a little, could become your secret weapon, and I'll share the key to unlocking a lighter, truer way to live. If you're worn out from swimming upstream, pretending to be someone you're not, or just craving a simpler, more real approach to life, this is for you. So, buckle up for a journey that could shift everything you believe. Tap that bell icon, drop a like if you're excited, and let's unravel together why easing up, caring a little less about forcing things, might be the exact move to get everything clicking into place. Trust me, what you're about to uncover in the next few minutes could flip your entire view on success, joy, and what it means to feel whole. Are you pumped to take this ride with me? The illusion of control and the ego. In Carl Jung's take on psychology, his analytical approach, the ego is this core piece of who we think we are, the part of our mind that's awake and dealing with the world around us. It's like our personal ID card for reality, the me we recognize when we look in the mirror. But Jung tosses out a warning: watch out for this sneaky trap where the ego tricks us into thinking we can run the whole show of our lives. Think of the ego as this headstrong ship captain, white-knuckling the wheel, convinced he can tame every wild wave, every howling wind, and every zig or zag off course. That's a spot-on picture of how so many of us go through our days, locked in this endless tug-of-war to keep every corner of our existence in check. We pour energy into shaping our relationships, nudging the people we love to fit the molds we've built in our heads. In our careers, we sketch out these airtight blueprints, only to get rattled when life scribbles outside the lines we've drawn. And maybe the toughest part? We obsess over how we look to others, crafting this polished version of ourselves we hope everyone will applaud or admire. But Jung stops us cold and asks, what's the price tag on this non-stop chase for control? Here's the twist. The tighter we cling to this fake sense of power, the farther we drift from who we really are deep down. It's like we're so caught up tweaking the settings of some virtual reality game that we miss the actual life happening right in front of us. Jung saw the true self as this huge, profound thing, way bigger than just the ego. It's not only the stuff we're aware of but also this massive, hidden sea of unconscious wisdom swirling beneath the surface. When we get too hung up on the ego's need to call the shots, we drown out that quiet, brilliant voice inside us. So, what shifts when we finally loosen our hold? When we stop stressing over what everyone thinks or micromanaging every moment? That's when the magic kicks in. The ego hushes up, like the calm that settles after a raging storm fades away. Imagine that stillness. It's in that peaceful space that we start tuning into a wiser, deeper whisper. This isn't the frantic, bossy ego talking. It's a voice rising from the core of who we are, nudging us toward choices that feel right, that match the real us. Jung believed that when we listen to this inner guide and roll with it, we step into a life that's truer and more satisfying. It's not a perfect, problem-free ride. Challenges still pop up, but we meet them with a kind of honest strength that feels whole. So, the first move to getting everything on track? It's the opposite of what you'd expect. Stop pushing so hard to make it all happen. Let go of that myth of total control, and open up to the insight that bubbles up when the ego takes a breather. On this road, We learn that real power isn't in clutching everything tight, it's in the guts to release, to trust something bigger than our little ego, like our authentic self and the natural rhythm of life. The shadow and acceptance. One of the most fascinating and impactful ideas in Carl Jung's psychology is something he called the shadow. And no, it's not some dark, creepy villain lurking inside us that we should dread. Instead, it's a vital, totally normal piece of who we are, woven right into the fabric of our minds. Jung pictured the shadow as all those parts of ourselves we shove away, ignore, or tuck out of sight, not just from others, but often from our own awareness too. Think of it like a dusty old chest stashed in the basement of your thoughts, packed tight with traits, urges, and dreams we've labeled as not okay. These could be things like frustration, envy, or wanting something for ourselves that we feel isn't noble, or maybe even big goals and wishes we're scared to admit because of what our family or friends might think. So why do we hide these pieces away? Jung suggested it's all about dodging judgment, both the kind we get from the outside world and the harsh voice we turn on ourselves. From the time we're little, we pick up on what's good and what's not allowed, and bit by bit, we stuff anything that doesn't match the perfect picture we want to show into that shadow chest. But here's the catch, as Jung pointed out, keeping all that locked up comes with a price tag. The more we push these parts of ourselves down, the more mental energy we burn just trying to keep them out of sight. It's like holding a beach ball underwater with both hands, tiring yourself out with every second of effort. Now, imagine what happens if we stop battling those hidden traits and start welcoming them instead. Jung called this shadow integration, and it's where the real wonder of acceptance begins to spark. When we embrace our quirks, our so-called flaws, and even those desires we've been ashamed of, we free up this huge burst of energy we didn't even know we were wasting. No more pretending to be flawless, we can just be real. Take someone who's always bottled up their irritation because they thought it was wrong. When they finally see it, accept it, they don't turn into some rage monster. Nah, they just learn to handle it better, in a way that's healthy and actually helps them grow. All that effort they used to spend hiding it? Now it fuels self-expression and moving forward. Jung wrapped this up with a gorgeous line. Become who you are. It's not about letting every wild impulse run the show. It's a warm invite to hug the whole package of you, the bright spots and the messy ones, the strengths and the stumbles. As we weave our shadow back into the picture, life starts feeling less like a tug-of-war inside us. We're not constantly at odds with bits of ourselves anymore, and that calm ripples out into how we connect with people, making those bonds deeper and truer. Plus, here's a bonus. Owning our own imperfections makes us softer toward others too. When we stop judging ourselves so hard, we get why everyone else isn't perfect either. Let's be real, though. This isn't a quick fix or a breezy stroll. Facing stuff we've buried for years can feel tough, even a little raw sometimes. But Jung insisted it's a must-do step toward what he called individuation, becoming a whole, fully rounded person. When we ditch the obsession with looking flawless and accept all of who we are, shadow included, we carve out room for a life that's real and rich. And here's the wild part. That's when things start falling into place, not because the world outside magically fixes itself, but because we've transformed how we relate to ourselves and everything around us. Synchronicity and the flow of life. Carl Jung shook up the way we think about the world with his idea of synchronicity, especially in a time when everyone was stuck on straight line, cause and effect logic. He tossed out this bold notion that not everything happens because of a simple this leads to that. There's more going on in the weave of life. Jung said there's this extra layer where things that seem totally unrelated tie together through meaning, not just a chain of events. Picture two old pals who haven't chatted in ages, both suddenly remembering each other at the exact same second and picking up the phone to call. Or maybe you've had one of those moments where you're mulling over some random topic, and then bam, it pops up everywhere, like the universe is winking at you. That's synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that feel too perfect to be chance and hint at some bigger pattern underneath it all. So, what's this got to do with letting go of control? Way more than you might think at first. When we're always trying to micromanage our lives, we're stuck in this non-stop make it happen mode, zeroed in on forcing things to turn out exactly how we planned. It's like driving a car but only staring at your hands on the wheel, missing the road stretching out ahead, or the scenery whizzing by. But here's what shifts when we ease off that need to dictate every detail. When we stop stressing so hard about nailing specific results, something amazing clicks. We start picking up on more around us. It's like our eyes and ears widen, letting in a whole range of stuff we were too busy to notice before. In that open, tuned-in space, synchronicities start lighting up our days. Jung didn't see these as flukes. He thought they were glimpses of a universe that's all connected, full of meaning, dropping little hints to guide us toward our truest path. Think of life like a river. When we thrash against the current, we tire ourselves out and barely move an inch. But when we roll with the flow, we glide along with less struggle and more grace. Same deal here. When we quit forcing every outcome and lean into life's natural rhythm, things start lining up in ways that feel almost too good to be true. Now, don't get it twisted. Trusting the flow isn't about kicking back and doing nothing. Jung wasn't saying we should just float through life like leaves on the wind. Nah, it's a sharper, stronger way of showing up, paying attention, responding to what's in front of us, and lining up with what really matters to us deep down. It's like a surfer riding the waves. They don't boss the ocean around, but they read the swells and move with them, fully in the game but not fighting the tide. When we let ourselves tune into synchronicities and trust life's current, it's like the universe starts tossing us a hand. Opportunities pop up right when we need them, the perfect people stroll into our lives, and answers to tricky stuff show up out of nowhere. Jung figured this isn't some cosmic fairy dust at work, it's us finally syncing up with our real selves. When we stop battling who we are and what life's handing us, we get better at spotting the quiet nudges and possibilities that were always there. We were just too caught up to see them. Synchronicity, at its heart, calls us to move through life with a looser grip, trusting our gut more, and staying open to whatever curveballs or gifts come our way. People who lean into this often find everything clicking, not because they've wrestled every detail into place, but because they're finally grooving with the deeper beat of life. It's a whole new lens that doesn't just change how we view the world, it reshapes how we live every single moment. The self as center of totality. At the core of Carl Jung's analytical psychology lies the idea of the self, a concept that stretches far beyond the ego, the part of us we recognize as our everyday, conscious identity. The self, in Jung's view, is this expansive, profound thing, capturing the entirety of our mind, not just the bits we're aware of but also the massive, mysterious depths of the unconscious. Picture it like a giant circle, with the ego as just a tiny dot floating on top. The self holds everything, our memories, experiences, hidden potentials, universal patterns he called archetypes, and even pieces of ourselves we haven't met yet. It's the central hub of our whole personality, the wellspring of what makes us uniquely us. When we're stuck living through the ego alone, we get tangled up fretting over little slices of life, like nailing a big career win, polishing our social image, or stacking up influence and cash. Sure, those things might feel huge in the moment, but Jung saw them as distractions pulling us away from linking up with the truer, deeper self. Jung argued that the real aim of growing psychologically, what he named the individuation process, is waking up to this self. It's not about ditching the ego entirely, but blending it smoothly with the rest of our psyche so the self can step up as the guiding light of our existence. So, how do we shift from a life pinned to the ego to one that vibes with the self? Here's the twist. It starts when we quit obsessing over those scattered pieces and chase something whole instead. When we let go of stressing about outward wins, what people think, or climbing some social ladder, we open the door for the richer parts of ourselves to peek through. It's like settling the choppy surface of a lake. Once the ripples fade, you can finally glimpse the clear, quiet depths beneath. Calming the chatter in our heads, maybe through meditation, reflection, or just carving out silent pockets in our busy days, lets the self shine through more naturally. In that stillness, we catch whispers of an inner voice, one that's usually drowned out by the ego's endless to-do list and worries. Jung suggested that when we line up with the self, life starts clicking into place. Not in some fairy tale way where every problem vanishes or we always get our way, but in a deeper sense. We feel like we're walking the path that's truly ours, in tune with who we were meant to be. Decisions we make from this spot aren't just knee-jerk reactions to what's loudest or most urgent. They're fuller, wiser, reflecting all of who we are, not just the surface stuff. This shift can show up in all kinds of ways as we live it out. For one, our relationships get real. When we're in sync with the self, we draw in people who mirror and lift up our authentic nature, and the connections we build feel solid and true. Then there's work. It stops being just a paycheck and starts reflecting what we're really about, a way to share our deepest talents and values with the world. Creativity gets a boost too. Tapping into the self is like plugging into an endless well of ideas, sparking inspiration that flows effortlessly. We also find a steadier emotional footing. Rooted in the self, we've got this inner anchor that keeps us balanced through life's highs and lows. And purpose? Oh, it sharpens up. Living from the self brings this clear sense of direction, a feeling that what we're doing actually matters. Jung saw this alignment with the self as a lifelong dance, not some finish line you cross once and call it done. It's a constant interplay between what we know and what's still hidden, a journey weaving together the conscious and unconscious parts of us. Things start working out, not because the outside world suddenly bends to our will, but because we've found peace with the full scope of who we are. That inner calm spills over into how we move through life and connect with everything around us. By chasing the wholeness of the self instead of getting lost in the little bits, we stumble into a way of being that's truer and more rewarding. It's an open call to keep exploring ourselves. Every bump in the road, every burst of joy, just another step toward unlocking our deepest potential. So, what do you think? Has this dive into Jung's world stirred something in you? If this journey sparked a light in your heart, or cracked open some fresh ways of seeing things, you can pass that gift along. Tap that like button. It's a simple way to nudge the algorithm to share this with more people who, just like you, are hungry for a realer path. Not subscribed yet? Now's the perfect time. Hit that button and ring the bell too, because every week we're dropping deep dives into psychology, self-discovery, and personal growth right here on Healthy Mind. Share this with a friend who needs to hear it. You never know, a quick video like this might just be the spark that changes everything for them. That's it for today. I'll catch you next time. Remember, your real strength lives right there between the shadows and the light. See you soon.